And it's another day, another podcast, another beautiful opportunity to not be locked down like most cities are across the country. Here in Chattanooga, streaming live from Terminal 57 right here. Chat with Gunner, episode 20. Doing a little bit of a recap of the week. We haven't had many guests come in the past few weeks. Not my fault. You can blame Dr. Fauci.
No. Don't blame him.
Why?
It's not his fault.
Okay,
He
you
didn't
can
make it.
blame
China.
you can blame the Kung Flu. You can blame China. You can blame everyone but
Winnie the Pooh.
yourself.
Yeah.
You
it's
can
not
blame
your fault.
everyone but yourself because it's not your fault. Not your fault you don't want to do anything. It's not your fault you don't want to get back out the house. Not your fault you don't want to go to work.
Whoa. Now I feel personally attacked.
Everyone's being attacked today. So, man, last two episodes we talked about UFC 249, and finally the sports came back, and they came back this past Saturday. And I'm pretty much a genius when it comes to picking fights. So if you like to gamble, if you like to bet, you should probably be picking my brain or listening to this show. If you know someone who likes to gamble or someone who likes to bet or someone who likes fights, you should probably be listening to my show and taking my advice the majority of the time. We'll put an asterisk beside that here in a minute. Anyways, UFC 249, I got every fight correct except one.
Hey.
Every single one of them except one.
That's still on your record. Like,
Yeah.
you're doing the same as you always have.
Yeah. You know, I talked about, and I had several DraftKings lineup picked out. So I had 3 in total. 2 of them went 5-1. The fights that cost me was the Cowboy Cerrone fight, which he won that fight. And,
Good for him.
Well, no, he got beat.
Oh.
But I'm telling everybody he won that fight.
Oh, okay.
Because he did. And I mean, it's close, very close, but he should have won. And what's his first name? I can't see it. Verdum was the one who got me on the other card. Now he just got beat. Started out very slow in the first round. Started to kind of pick it up. Fabricio Verdum started to kind of pick it up a little bit in the second and third round, but it was too little, too late, and he was beat by Alexei Olenek. The main event was wild, like we expected. Justin Gaethje picking up the I guess you could call it an upset. It's an upset because Tony Ferguson's on a huge winning streak and had beaten some good people. But so has Justin Gaethje, and that fight was vicious. I really enjoyed that fight. Gaethje hit so hard. He had the perfect game plan. He didn't break his game plan. And for 5 rounds, he absolutely punished Tony Ferguson. I think you could look at it and say, should have Tony cut weight 3 weeks ago just for fun? Did Tony prepare for a grappling opponent such as Khabib and then got thrown into the fire with a puncher like Gaethje? No excuses. Tony didn't make no excuse. He needs to get back to the drawing board, come back. Can't wait for him to come back. But Justin Gaethje, my God. Ready for that Khabib fight. That's going to be fun. So I built all this confidence up. I won like $100 on DraftKings. And I've never went 5-1 twice in one weekend. I've went 5-1 a blue million times, it seems like, over the course of the past 365 days. From the 60-minute Broadway to Chat with Gunner, we've been crushing DraftKings, been playing with the same money that we put in at the very beginning. So I was feeling cocky. I was feeling good. There's 3 UFC fights happening this week. It was Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. I was like, oh, man, each card's paying out $100,000. All I'm thinking is this is the week. This is the week I'm going to hit it. And I found a little bit of a formula from Saturday. The formula was, after doing my review from the show, that the younger fighter won every fight. Okay? So the younger fighter won every fight in UFC 249. Then I started going back and looking at the other cards from 2020. The majority of the time, the younger fighter wins, even as the underdog. So then I was like, there's got to be some numbers out there from some other freaks like me who love sports and want to gamble and want to know the statistics of what is going on. So, like any person trying to do some deep research on a subject, I Googled, does the younger person usually win UFC fights? And I'll be damned if it didn't pull up like 10 different scientific studies of people going through the numbers, crunching the data, and 65 to 70% of the time the younger person wins the fight.
Those are good odds.
And the younger person usually wins by knockout or a finish, which gets you more points on DraftKings. So for me, I'm looking at the numbers. And I usually have a good gut instinct when it comes to the fights. And I'll look at the fights and be like, this person has more fast twitch muscle fiber. This person's more athletic. This person's more explosive. So I like them in the mix. No. I didn't do any of that this time. This time I just said, who is younger? I put together a spreadsheet. I threw it together. Had some great cards, I thought it was going to do well. So I'm excited. It's a Wednesday. Never have fights on a Wednesday. I go to work. I get off work about 4 o'clock. I go home. I work out. Tia's tired. She's been working all night. She falls asleep like in my lap as I'm watching the fights. As the fights come on at 7 o'clock, I'm sitting there. I got my food, got my drinks. Marcus is not bothering me. He's in the back room. It's a perfect, fantastic Wednesday. I couldn't imagine a better Wednesday. The first fight comes on. Well, bam! Knockout by the youngest fighter. Chase Sherman comes out, big knockout. So now my card reads 1-0 with a knockout. I've taken this Chase Sherman guy. He was a younger guy. He was the underdog. Nobody gave a shit about him. This is going to be a great night. I'm feeling it. Now the rest of my card looks great. Didn't win another fight. Didn't win one. Not one fight. The younger fighter did not win any of the other 9 fights. I went 1-9. I had a DraftKings because I always do this. On my DraftKings, I have like 2 lineups that I think are going to win, right? The most optimal lineups for me. And then I have a third lineup where I take the people who I don't think are going to win or not on my other 2 DraftKings card. And that card went 4-2. So, a little bit frustrated. Got a little excited right there. It might have been the most enthusiasm I've had on the podcast moving forward. What
I crunched the numbers. You said about 70% of the time the younger fighter wins.
Let's just say 60 to 70.
60 to 70? That is, for 9 fights, a 0.00019% chance of happening that all the older fighters win.
Yeah,
9 fights.
about the same odds of me ever winning DraftKings.
Obviously.
Yeah, obviously, because I can only get so close. That's my life. It's really, I don't want to get on a rant right here, but that's really my life. Like, work so hard, get to Division I football, can't go pro. Work so hard, get to a certain level, having a really good season, break my neck. Work so hard, get to the WWE tryout, crush everybody, don't get signed. Work so hard, do all this wrestling, have all these great matches, and then everybody just hates me. So, I'm used to it. At this point,
You're used to disappointment.
yeah, just study. So, listen, man, I'm at a great point in my life right now. I'm having a fantastic time. I have a great job. I have a great girlfriend. She has a great son. I love being a great role model for him. I've got a great dog that lives with my parents. I have a great relationship with my family. Financially, I'm doing well. Like, I am in a great place right now to say that I always come up just a little bit short. And that's fun to say.
But let's be honest here, Gunner. That's what makes you you.
That's what makes
that
me.
just makes you fired up for the next time.
Dude, because I'm always trying to I'm always trying to get the one thing that I know that I'm never going to be able to get, so it keeps me getting things I should never be able to have.
That's fine. Because that makes you a better person, honestly.
One of these days, there's going to be a meme pop up with my face on it with that quote. I'm not
You're going to look back at this episode and be
I'm
like,
not going to be the guy to go back and write this, but somebody is when this thing blows up one of these days. Because, let's be real. This podcast we'll do it for a couple years. It might find that one person who likes it, who tweets it, who it blows up, and then for some reason, something I said on episode 3 is going to get me kicked off the air. That's how I expect this.
We did have a string of episodes probably, a month back?
Yeah. Those probably – listen, that's what's going to happen. Somebody's going to really enjoy it. Oh, my goodness, this guy's speaking a lot of good things. I'm going to be in a different part of my life. I'm going to be given different type of information. They're going to really enjoy it. I'm going to forget everything I said about Jesus and the devil and Donald Trump and COVID-19, and it's going to bite me. But anyways, it's going to bite me right before I'm like on – Hey, Gunner, this is Joe Rogan. We want you to come over to the podcast.
No.
Hey, Gunner, this is Joe Rogan. You're not allowed to come over to the podcast.
No, Joe would never do that.
Yeah, I guess Joe would do that. He wouldn't do that. Anyways. All right. So that was a bunch of enthusiasm coming to you guys right here on this beautiful Thursday evening in Chattanooga, Tennessee with my radio voice. Which brings me to, I went 1-9 on this card. I've had some bad DraftKings cards, let's be real. Never had one that bad, I don't think. I've probably had some where I've won one fight on my card, but not won one fight on all my predictions. So, the best part about having 3 fights in a row in the same week is that we have one coming up this Saturday. And this Saturday is headlined by Walt Harris and Alistair Overeem. Pull up that, there we go. For you people watching the YouTube page, we have this broadcasting from the ESPN.com website, which allows us to see the UFC card. And if you're just listening, just keep listening to my voice, because this voice right here is going to tell you everything you need to know about the upcoming UFC Fight Night in Jacksonville, Part 3. Here we go. The main event. Alistair Overeem, Walt Harris, 2 big, athletic, strong, explosive guys. Now here, I'm making my picks live on the air. Like, as I'm gonna have to write these down. As this is happening, I'm making my picks. Okay, so here we go. Alistair is 6'4", roughly 250 pounds. Walt Harris is 6'5", roughly 260 pounds. Both have knockout power. One is orthodox, one is southpaw. Both can put guys away. But here's what I say. Look at their last fights. Walt Harris has had some very quick knockouts against some opponents that, for lack of better terms, are over the hill. Alistair Overeem is fighting up-and-coming fighters and still having good performances, going 5 rounds with Rosenstruck in his last one, but getting knocked out at the very last second of the very last round and having his lip split wide open, which I remember showing his lip on a prior chat with Gunner. That was pretty nasty. The DraftKings money here, Alistair is the underdog, and I like Alistair Overeem. I know he's a little bit older, but so is Walt Harris. So I'm already breaking my rule. First fight of the night, and I'm going Alistair Overeem with a win by decision. Maybe knockout, but I'm calling by decision. Click on that second fight there. In the co-main event, 2 girls that are bangers. Claudia Gadelha from Brazil, Angela Hill from America. When I went to Raleigh, North Carolina with my father, my pops, my dad, we went to go watch a UFC fight night, and Angela Hill fought on that card, and she put away an up-and-coming prospect. Angela Hill has fought more times in the past year than anybody, including the boys. Angela Hill has had a bunch of wins over the past year. Claudia Gadelha has not. Not that she hasn't been fighting, just I feel like every time she has a fight coming up, either the girl misses weight or the fight gets canceled or the fight gets postponed. So she's been in camp for a long time now. She trains at the Performance Institute. Angela Hill's probably training in a gym, but maybe not getting special treatment. I know that Claudia Gadelha is the favorite in this fight. But she hasn't looked great in the past few. I'm torn here. I would rather stay away from this, but I'm going to pick it. I'm a Claudia Gadelha fan for sure. She is a little pit bull as a fighter. She's tough. But I've also become an Angela Hill fan, and when she was on Joe Rogan's podcast, she's very charismatic. She's very funny. She didn't start mixed martial arts until a late age. Claudia Gadelha's been doing it her whole life. I think the difference in this fight is takedowns and ground game if Claudia can keep up her cardio, which I think that she'll be able to do. So, Claudia Gadelha by decision. In the third fight, we've got another good fight right here. This has been a great – I couldn't imagine a better week of fights. Dan, I don't know if it's Iggy or Ig. I'm going to go Dan. And then it's Edson Barboza. So Edson Barboza, it's funny. I was looking at his stats today of guys that he has fought, let's just say, in his past 10 fights. This guy has been beat a lot. But let's look at who's been beat by. Paul Felder, Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, I believe maybe Nick or Nate Diaz. Dude, this dude's been beat by the best of the best. Tough luck. He's great. Getting a little old. Dan, we'll call him Dan. Dan is younger, 28. Initially, earlier in the week, prior to this Wednesday fiasco of my new formula, I was all on Dan. I was all for Dan. Now I don't know. Like I don't know. Like, does the younger person win? Is that a thing? Do they have a better chin? I mean, a 40-year-old man absolutely pummeled Anthony Smith, a rising contender, last night in my cards. A fight that I just knew wasn't going to go his way. Regardless, in this situation, due to the DraftKings and everything, I am going with the man Dan. That's who I went with. I already know that because I did it earlier today. You can go to that fourth fight, bro. Let's see what we got here. I know this fight's going to be a banger, too. They are fighting at middleweight, and is Eric Anders, Roll Tide, the former collegiate football player for the University of Alabama, going up against Christopher Jocko. Now, I've watched both of these guys fight. I watched Eric Anders fight when I went to Atlanta to watch UFC 236, and Jocko, I've watched him fight several times on TV. Now, I have picked both of these guys in the past, and they have both burnt me in the past. So, I really don't want to pick either one of them. However, I'm looking at the line, and I'm seeing that Eric Anders is actually the underdog in this and the money play, which is surprising. And let's see what I went with earlier today. Let's go ahead and let's just look into it. Let's just pull it up. See what's happening. Boom, boom, boom. All right, here we go. So, I didn't think I went that way. All right. Well, according to me earlier, according to me earlier, I went with Jotko. Okay. Yeah, that's cool with me. I went with Jotko. I probably made a stupid decision on that, but it is what it is. Go to that next one. Song Yadong and Marlon Vera. An up-and-comer, a guy that's been around a little bit. I know that Song Yadong has got a little bit of power. It kind of sounds weird to say that. Song Yadong's got some power. But he does. I don't necessarily know for sure who's going to win this. I don't know for sure who's going to win any of these, but if I had to put money on it, and I do have money on it, I'm going Song Yadong. And then for the rest of the picks, I'm going to let everyone else decide for yourself. I think I'm just going to stick to picking the main card on here. Because what's crazy is I had several people actually steal my DraftKings lineup for the UFC 249. So if I ever do land this, I don't need to be sharing it with anybody. And I found out that there's this website called Fantasy Crunch. And you can go to this website. You can type in what you want. I guess you pay a monthly subscription or whatever. And it gives you 150 optimized generated lineups for you to play DraftKings with. And that is these people that are winning every single time. Like a buddy of mine sent me a message on Facebook Messenger DM, showing a screenshot of one of his buddies that won $47,000 at UFC 249 through DraftKings. But he entered like over 3,000. So the play is multiple lineups, each card, each game, and just ride it out.
Literally
and it's
playing all of the sides.
Literally just playing statistics. Like I think you can enter up to 150, lineups on the main
and
one.
that's that's about how many you would need.
Yeah.
Jesus.
You know what? I could do that. Like I'm at a point in my life where I could 100% put in 150 $20 lineups if I wanted to, and maybe make $5,000 to $10,000. But I don't even want to do it.
That's not fun.
It's not.
That's just making money, but it's not.
That's having money, making money. Then you have to end up paying taxes on all that at the end of the year.
No,
like
thanks.
no.
You'd have to make a lot more than that.
Now, if my whole thing is, I want to have a lineup that I pick on this show that wins the money, so I can come on here and brag. That's what I want to do.
That's fair.
Or most likely get on here and tell everybody how I went 5-1 and almost won $100,000 again. That's another thing I could do. So yeah, there's my my quick picks for this weekend. I'm sure I'll touch on that next Thursday. In the pipeline coming up. Trying to get some people in here. Oh, real quick, commercial break. Hey, you need your yard cut. Yeah, you look at all these lawn mowing services and you think, they did a good job. Well, they did a bad job. They did a decent job. I wonder who did their yard, because that yard's pretty good. If you're looking for your yard to look pretty good, look up Chris McNelly. Chris McNelly's been on the podcast several times. He's been talking about conspiracies, talking about entrepreneurship, talking about how to run a business, and maybe more conspiracies. But one thing he hasn't been talking about, because it's brand new, according to this week, is his lawn care service, which is Pretty Good Lawn Care. He's coming to mow my yard. Let him mow your yard. Go to Pretty Good Lawn. Is it prettygood.com? Prettygoodlawns.com?
Prettygoodlawns.com.
Prettygoodlawns.com. Tell him Gunner sent you. Promo code Gunner. Just kidding. No promo code. But eventually, one of these days, we'll have some promo codes. All you really got to do is email the address that's on the website, which is probably, is it Chris at prettygoodlawn.com? I think that's what it is.
I don't know, actually.
I'm looking it up. Next week, we'll have a better idea for this. But this is a last minute. He doesn't even actually sponsor the show. I just like him so much that I'm making him a sponsor.
That's right.
Yeah. So, and he's doing my yard for a pretty good price. So if you want to, and he does it 10 to 14 days. So like you can get a 10-day cycle or a 14-day cycle. I'm choosing the 14-day cycle, even though he generously was going to give me the 10-day cycle, which I just realized, no, pal, because that's 3 times I got to pay you in a month. I'm going to pay you twice. How about that?
It is Chris at prettygoodlawns.com.
Chris, that's CHRIS at prettygoodlawns.com. That's plural. Prettygoodlawns.com. All right, that's cool. Doing our first little. We need more of those.
Weird.
If you want a cool sponsor, you want a cool little sponsorship jingle, and you got something to advertise or a service to provide someone,
just email us.
Email us.
We'll do it. At this point, we just want to do them now.
Yeah, we will advertise your company or your service for free.
We accept tips, though.
For free, one time.
Yes.
And if you get anything from it and you want to pay me to do it again, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk.
We'll talk about it. Maybe I don't even want to advertise your stupid product. How about that?
Whoa.
Or your stupid service. How about that?
Or maybe we do.
Or maybe I do.
Because maybe it's pretty good.
Or maybe it's pretty good. Maybe I'm going to start a company called Pretty Good Advertising, where I advertise pretty good. Not great.
But, hey, it gets the job done.
Yeah, not bad. Gets the job done. Anyways, boom. So Ethan, our in-house nerd.
Of course.
I'm just a hidden nerd. I just don't tell everybody.
That's fine.
Ethan, in-house nerd, was just showing me a video that he thought I didn't know about, but actually this fake nerd over here did. He'd already known. He already knew what the engine was and what it goes to.
Yep.
How nerdy is that for me? Pretty nerdy.
I was surprised.
Yeah. So Epic Games.
Yes.
Yeah. So is that Fortnite?
Yes.
Oh, Epic Games. I know more than I think.
Epic Games, which is the creator of Fortnite.
Yeah.
The bane of our existence right now.
Yep.
And what is called Unreal Engine.
Yeah, which is like the GTA engine.
It runs
open world,
a plethora of games.
Correct.
It doesn't have to be GTA. It could be
that formula,
yes.
That model. Yeah.
Not necessarily though. It can run any game.
Okay.
GTA is one of the biggest. Well, in general, full stop. One of the biggest games, but also runs Unreal Engine 4.
Cool. And this
5,
is Unreal Engine 5,
which we've known about. I mean, it's not impossible to imagine that Epic has been working on a new engine with the Fortnite money they have.
So real quick, which engine is Fortnite ran on? Unreal 4?
4, yes.
So they're on the same engine as GTA?
Yeah.
The newest. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So, I mean,
Gotcha.
that's not impossible to think of. I mean, Epic makes it. Why they're obviously going to use their own stuff. But
Gotcha.
about 2 days ago, dropped next gen game footage, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Xbox has already been talking about this.
Yeah.
They had a I don't know what you call it, virtual showcase, game
Okay.
showcase
Yeah.
of just, hey, here's the lineup for the next 6 months,
Okay.
including when the Xbox X comes out,
And
which is
the PS5.
Xbox is only doing theirs.
Oh, okay.
But it's a little bit of a drop of, hey, you know Assassin's Creed? You go into Valhalla, you get Norse, Vikings, not entirely historically accurate, but you're gonna play it.
Yeah. Yeah.
As well as a bunch of other games that, sure, we were interested in, but now we're really interested in.
Due to.
Just being next gen, they look great.
And this is
But
for the Xbox X.
The game showcase was.
Okay.
What we got the other day was PS5 gameplay.
Uh-huh.
What has been said is Unreal Engine 5 and running on a PS5.
Okay. Literally, you could have said that in Spanish, and I'd have understood just as much. So
Exactly.
Okay. Go ahead.
So a game can run on an engine, but most of the time for like E3 or TGS, which is Tokyo Game Show,
Okay.
they will put it on a really high-end, like top of the line, multiple thousands of dollars PC just to show it to people
Okay.
because it looks great. Because
Okay.
they can run it in 8K at 120 frames per second
Okay.
live.
Yeah.
But the fact that they put out that this is running on PS5 means that when you buy a PS5,
That's what you're getting.
that is the benchmark that you should be looking at.
Because, like, for example, say the year is 2009 and the PlayStation 3 is the moneymaker.
Yeah.
They would
It
come out with PlayStation 4 was moneymaker, and they would come out with all these really cool screenshots from video games that I wanted to play, and I was like, "Oh, that looks awesome!" And then I never see that screenshot ever while I'm playing it. It's because they're doing it on a PC with better graphics.
Yeah.
Huh, makes sense.
And to be fair, before now, when the parity between PC gaming and console gaming was a lot different,
Mhm.
because PCs for the longest time have always had the cutting, bleeding edge
Yeah.
of graphics cards, CPUs, all that stuff.
Right.
But now we're getting a little bit closer and closer because
Yeah.
game companies are like, we can spend a little bit more, people
Yeah.
will buy them, and
yeah.
they'll get good looking shit.
Yeah.
So we'll just jump on it.
Yeah. So-
Because these screenshots do very little to show exactly how awesome this is,
Okay.
because you're just looking at it.
It's my first time seeing these, so you get
It was like just a tech demo again. It was
Okay.
just showing off what it should look like,
All right.
what the capabilities are. And it followed this, it was basically kind of like a Tomb Raider-esque
Okay. Yep.
game.
Mhm.
It probably isn't a real game.
Right.
There's a possibility. But it was, obviously this screenshot here looks amazing.
Yeah.
It's cartoony, but the shading and the lighting is what is most important.
Yeah. It pops.
It pops
Yeah.
like real life,
Mhm.
which is awesome.
Right.
And then you get a screenshot like this. Now this is not a picture. This is in-game streaming live when they were recording it.
But if you can't see this, if you're listening, it looks like you went to a cave that has an opening with the sun coming down with the shadows hitting the rocks perfectly, and you're like about to walk through this valley of a cave, and it looks exactly like a cave.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And what's amazing is, and they were talking about this, I don't think we can play the video just because of copyright issues.
Okay.
But the video itself, they were talking about how every point of light is being rendered in real time, and also it's not just the light that you see coming down,
Mm-hmm.
but just like in real life, you see everything else.
Yeah.
It's not overexposed.
Right.
You're not seeing complete darkness because you're seeing light as well. The light is bouncing off of all of the stone, all of the pixels, all of the triangles is what they say, into other places to give ambient light, which is what a lot of video games are missing to make it look more realistic.
Right.
Is the fact that light doesn't necessarily just hit something and stop moving. It'll bounce around,
No.
go through,
Goes
whatnot.
forever.
Oh yeah.
No.
Theoretically.
Right.
So that's something that's awesome already, is that the fact that we can get this amount of detail and light is awesome.
Yeah.
What next is awesome is that the engine itself can hold up to a couple billion to maybe a trillion triangles at a time. And I was explaining this a little bit earlier.
Okay.
But triangles are the smallest, simplest three-dimensional object that a game can have.
Okay.
Because it just has three sides. If it had any less, it would just be a line, and that doesn't make anything.
Gotcha. So it's the most complex but yet most simple shape that a video game can have.
It's the most simple.
Okay.
Because the more complex would be a sphere, because it has infinite number of sides.
Okay.
Because it doesn't really have one side.
Gotcha.
Anyway.
Okay.
But they said that the amount of triangles in this single frame are small enough to be just a pixel size.
Okay, so we're looking pretty much at a huge streaming version of a puzzle that is in high definition made out of triangles.
That is a very weird way of saying it, but yes. Three-dimensional puzzle, mind you.
Okay.
That's also very important. Each one of these rocks, or at least every sized pixel in an 8K monitor that would be showing this, is a single triangle.
Okay. Is this going to look?
Alone,
is this going to look as good in a 4K monitor?
Jumping from 4K to 8K, there's very little difference.
Okay. So everyone is going to pretty much have this.
And even if you're playing just on full HD 1080p, you're still going to be able to tell the difference.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter as much when you're talking about video games like this. But something to note is when it got really dark in the game in the demo, and then she pulls out this little orb of light, when kind of like Harry Potter, and then you see that single point of light having reflections everywhere around her on all of these different statues and stuff. And they even said that these statues, obviously, if you're watching video, you can tell they're very detailed.
Correct.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. Looks like a movie I want to watch right now.
Exactly. It's a very good movie, actually. But they said that they first showed her walking up to this single statue, and they started talking about, and they're like, they were talking about the person that made it in Zebra, which is like a modeling software to make video game models.
All right.
A single statue that you see when this is the video is playing is over 1 billion triangles alone of detail. Yeah. And each triangle can be a part of the joint into a detail onto the scales of the armor and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
And then she keeps walking, and the light's reflecting off of all of these bits and bobs, and then she just walks into like the terracotta army of all of these statues.
Yeah.
Probably, they said over 12 trillion triangles being rendered all at the same time in real time, which is amazing.
It's very interesting to see that in the 80s we were playing a game
that wasn't even 1080. That wasn't even 720.
In the 80s, we were playing a game that had a ball that went across the screen, and that was what everyone got excited about. Now, literally, you're playing in the real world in a video game.
Essentially. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
I can remember when the PlayStation 2 came out, and the first game I got for Christmas that year was the PlayStation 2 with Madden 2001. And I was like, it'll never get more real than this.
This is the realest ever.
And then Madden 2002 came out, and 03 and 04 and so on. And now Madden is so realistic that I don't even enjoy playing it, really.
Because you would rather just play the game.
I would rather just not play football ever again.
Exactly.
And I'm having to if I don't see how guys that didn't make it to a higher level other than like high school can even compete with the people that are playing a Madden as of right now, because you have to know strategy. Or that's if like you play the game like a football player. Then you have like the best players in the world who just play the game to beat the game.
Exactly.
You know, like I don't know how to explain that.
They play the game to be the best.
They play the game to be the best instead of playing the game how it should be played.
Exactly.
Does that
have fun.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, and maybe it's just the nerd in me talking, but esports are a real sport. You may not be moving around and like it's not an athletic sport, but it is definitely a mind sport.
So, great point. I am actually going back right now and listening to the Joe Rogan Experience from the beginning. So, like, I started on episode 1, and now I'm up to, like, episode 23. Mm-hmm. They're missing a few in there, of course, but the things they talk about are to see that show become what it is now from where it was is hilarious, because we are so far ahead on episode Chat with Gunner, episode 20, than they were on JRE episode 20.
Yeah.
It didn't even have a name at 20. They were literally just sitting there like a bunch of chimpanzees talking
it was
about
just Joe Rogan podcast, wasn't it?
They were talking about they had one sponsor. I'm on the episode now where they just now got a sponsor. Their sponsor is the Fleshlight.
Really?
Yeah. That's
do they have a promo code and everything?
At the beginning of every show they do at this point, they talk about that and playing with themselves for 30 minutes. And tell stories about it and how it's so funny and how everyone should just do it, and it's just everybody does it.
Just do it.
Anyways, then they go into like today's episode was like episode 23. Eddie Bravo's on there, and they're talking about the Anunnaki and how gold in the atmosphere protects space. And
Whoa, no.
Rogan made the comment that literally I almost wanted to tweet this earlier. Rogan made the comment. He said he was talking about the Fleshlight and how all that's normal. He was like, you know what? Actually, in school, teachers should teach kids how to jerk off right. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna fast forward this show a little bit. I don't think teachers need to be teaching the kids those things.
That's definitely not what they should do. No, don't do that. If you're
agree.
a teacher,
don't do that. If you're a teacher,
do that.
Please wear a mask and gloves, and don't teach your students that. Anyways,
exactly.
Where was I going with all this? I got thrown off on the Joe Rogan Experience.
They were so far behind. They were not behind. They were just in their space.
Yeah,
7 years ago.
Yeah, right. And I understand that it's 2020, but this show is not going terrible compared to, like, they didn't have many people watching. It took several years for them to get people watching. It took several years for those guys to even get a real sponsor.
So I'm looking at the numbers right now. The Joe Rogan Experience #1 with Brian Redban has 934,000 views from 7 years ago.
Yeah.
1473 with Tom Papa a day ago already has 1 million views.
Right. So
that's the difference.
Yeah. So it became the Joe Rogan Experience in homage to the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Yep. And it started out with Brian Redban as the producer because he was working at a computer store, and that was the only person Joe knew that knew how to work a computer. And then they hired Jamie several episodes in to help out Redban, and then Redban said, I don't want to do multiple episodes a week. I only want to do it once a week. And then Jamie was hired full-time. So that's a little background story on that. Anyways, so kind of similar. We're doing it once a week. I'm just getting up here and talking about whatever I want to talk about. There's really no format, no structure. Some shows have had a little bit of structure with some guests. I've enjoyed those. I think eventually this could be a thing to where, it's always a guest multiple times a week, potentially have sponsorships, potentially be a decent-sized thing in Chattanooga. That's really all I want it to be. This is literally a program, a platform, a podcast, 3 Ps. For me to get on here on a Thursday, to get out of the house, to come to a spot, to see people I get to see once a week, and to complain or vent about whatever it is I want to talk about and give you some information on.
This is your meditation.
Yes. Sometimes I give tips about fitness, working out, and nutrition. And guess what? You should listen to those. Why? Because I've done them. And I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm not like, hey, my name is Gunner, and for $10.99 a month, I will give you advice. Nope. My name is Gunner, and for free, I will give you advice. And guess what? If you do what I tell you what to do, you'll lose weight. If you do what I tell you what to do, you'll gain weight. Or if you do what I say what to do, you'll get stronger. And guess what? I'm so nice that if you just text me or direct message me or somehow get in contact with me through email, I'll respond. I'm that nice. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. Where was we at? Video games?
Yeah.
Where I was on some rant, and then I went to
About the Joe Rogan talking about
Joe
video games,
Rogan, talk about
probably.
boom. Sports and video games. So Rogan in his prior episodes would always mention the game Quake.
Okay, yeah.
Quake.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how video games, the hand-eye coordination in video games is off the charts. And I think 10 years later, you can look back and say, yeah, he was right, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Games have changed so much. People are making so much money off games. There are teams completely focusing on games. There's leagues completely focusing on games. Some of the games that are the big money makers, not my cup of tea. They are your cup of tea.
Some of them.
Tomato. I like sports games, and I like GTA type games. You like all the games?
Basically.
Yeah. And it takes time to get good at a game.
Oh, yeah.
When I was a kid, so middle school, high school, college, I was very good at video games. I thought I was very good at NCAA football. I was very good at like a wrestling game. I was very good at like basketball games and GTA. That's what I was good at. You know I've never been good at? Call of Duty. You know what you have to have extreme hand-eye coordination for? Call of Duty. That game is miserable. You got people sniping people from 100 yards away with reading the wind, turning through and like it's ridiculous what these people are able to do. But you can't make fun of someone for enjoying something so much they put so much time and effort into it. Like you can't call me a meathead. You can't call me a meathead because I enjoy working out and I have muscles. No, that's called work ethic. You can't call someone a nerd just because they play video games. No. That it takes work ethic to be really good at a video game. These days, you can't just sit down and go, I'm good at video games.
Absolutely not.
No, you can't.
There's too many people playing them.
Yeah, there's an 11-year-old out there that will snipe you behind a building.
And not even care.
With some ballistic bullets, that he's got some super rounds that he went on a 37 kill streak, pressed the right analog stick left, and got to shoot you through a wall.
Exactly. And that's what I was saying about esports is that the people that are playing esports are not just your cousin in his basement.
No.
They're the people that literally have like trainers to come around and say, hey, we need to work on this set, and this set.
That's crazy.
Because it's just like football. If you're playing, there's a new game called Valorant, which is made by the same people that made League of Legends, which is the biggest worldwide esports game.
Heard of it, seen it, don't know about it.
Exactly. But it's sort of like Counter-Strike, which is round-based. Everybody gets one life, and you have to have a certain amount of game knowledge because you don't just get the same gun every time. You have to, every kill, every round win or round loss gives you a set amount of money to buy the weapon for the next round or the rounds after. So it's either buy a big gun right now to win one round or buy multiple smaller guns that suck, but you're good enough with them to get enough money for the good stuff.
Strategy all around.
It's strategy, it's game knowledge, it's being good at the game, it's being able to outplay opponents. Because it's not just point and shoot. There's also abilities like being able to teleport from one end of the map to another that you can see in 3 seconds, but you can't shoot anybody in those 3 seconds, and somebody can shoot you in those 3 seconds. So it's all of these things put together that just make a very cohesive game and a very cohesive sport.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of money in it. They actually, one of my favorite shows, produced and starred by The Rock, Ballers on HBO.
Oh, yeah.
The whole last season, the final season, was around their team or their company purchasing an esports team. Yeah.
People are thinking about it.
And the guy, one of the guys that's like one of the top NFL players in the show, wants to quit the NFL to become an esports superstar. That's like the whole mission.
Here's the thing. It's hard to do that.
Yeah, and that was the whole story.
Yeah, because you can't, just because you're good at throwing a ball or catching a ball or running does not mean you have the hand-eye coordination that it takes for this sport or that sport.
Yeah.
Plus, and this is something that happening nonstop. And it's probably why there's a lot of nerds out there trying to fix carpal tunnel. People that play video games all the time get carpal tunnel.
I bet.
Even me, sometimes I get a pain in my hand. I'm like, oh shit, am I losing my hand?
Yeah.
But like, just recently, one of the best players in the world for League of Legends said, like, hey guys, I'm gonna have to slow down. I've got my arm's starting to give out on me.
I think that you're supposed to hear that and feel pity and pain and sorrow and feel sorry. That's hilarious.
I mean, hey,
I get it.
He's made millions of dollars.
What's the difference?
Good for him.
What's the difference in the top esports gamer in the world losing his hand and me breaking my neck playing football? No difference.
Nothing.
No,
Yeah.
It's literally the same thing.
Yeah, and he got paid. No offense.
A lot more. Right, to do a lot less.
Because esports is a lot more money behind it right now.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's a wild west right now.
I'm sure right now is a fantastic time to be a phenomenal esport player.
Oh yeah.
All right.
That was a good show.
How many minutes we in?
We're 45 minutes in.
I told you, Ethan. 30 minutes cut me off. I know.
I looked right at you and I said 30 minutes, and you didn't say anything.
Exactly, because this has been a good show, fun show.
Yes.
So earlier this week, I tried to get a former guest. I think he was on the Broadway, so I want to get him on this. Jared Hensley, principal at Saudi Daisy High School. The reason I want to get Jared in is because there's been some board meetings and some conference calls and some whatever with the Hamilton County school system. And during this whole COVID deal, instead of talking conspiracies, I just want to get it from the horse's mouth. I want to have a guy come in that's working closely with the Hamilton County school system, come in and kind of give me and us as the listeners an idea of, are we going to have school next year? If so, what is it going to look like? What is the new normal? And the only reason I'm asking any of these questions is because I want to know the answers on sports.
Oh, I thought you just wanted to get Marcus back in school.
Yeah. So there's preschools are actually opening up soon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's the actual school system. The reason I'm asking is because everybody's wanting to know, is there going to be college football? Is there not going to be college football? Is there going to be professional football? Is there not going to be professional football? First of all, there will be professional football. Why? And you can hear it here first, because the majority of their money comes from television contracts. That's why there'll be professional football. Only like 15 to 25% of their money comes from the actual gate of the arena. So will the cities suffer that have professional sports teams? 15% correct. But the televisions and the NFL as a brand and the teams individually will not suffer because their money comes from the television contracts. Now, here's where it gets iffy. There might not be people in the crowd. Who cares? Those guys are getting paid to entertain us. Now, the people that are not getting paid to entertain us are collegiate athletes, something that I used to be, something that I am very prideful about and passionate about. And those guys, they get paid with scholarships. Shut up, buddy. Here's the problem with that.
That's another episode, Gunner.
Yeah, they get paid. Yeah, shut up with Gunner. They get paid in a scholarship. Yeah, they get their college paid for. Yeah, but guess what? They also have zero free time. They signed up for it. Shut up. They get zero free time, and they're not allowed to work an actual job to get paid any money to do anything. So yeah, they get 30 meals a week, and they get a couple of track suits and a T-shirt, some shorts, and a bunch of sprints and a bunch of weightlifting and a bunch of coaches yelling at them with dip spit in their mouth. That's what they get, all right? And they get to be the face of the community. They get to go out there and slave every Saturday for you to come sit your butt in the crowd and watch them and bitch because they didn't make a tackle on third down, or they didn't complete that pass at the end of the game, or they fumbled and they lost the game. Welcome to college football and college sports. You can say that with anything. Volleyball, softball, basketball, baseball, wrestling, whatever it is. You can say that with any of them. We are just, and I say we because I was one, we are just a number on the depth chart. And next year you get replaced with another number. And the next year the same thing. But guess who makes money? The NCAA. And the NCAA assholes, they make all the money. And they're worried about not making as much money this year due to the corona. And you got a bunch of coaches coming out saying there's going to be sports, a bunch of athletic directors coming out saying we're hoping there's going to be sports. And then you have the state of California that says, you know what, we're not going to school this fall, so there's not going to be sports in Division II. I guess we're going to leave it up to the private universities of California in Division I in the Pac-12. We'll see. So it's going to be interesting because colleges make the majority of their revenue, like 75 to 85% of their revenue comes from stadium attendance. And guess what? The football team provides a spark for the entire athletic department and the entire university. So if we don't have football this fall, there's going to be problems. Maybe. How long have we had college football? 100 years? Let's just call it 100 years. I know it's been more than that. Let's just call it 100 years. How long has the NCAA been around? I don't know. Let's just call it 40 years. So you have profited, made money, made millions of billions of dollars off of kids that you're not paying any money. Kids that are taking a risk of getting injured for the rest of their life, getting paralyzed, getting killed, ruining their NFL chances or their next level chances. You're not paying those kids, but you're making billions of dollars. And you can't have your sport for one season and you're freaking out. Where's all the money? That's my question.
It's not the company.
You've made money for 40 plus years and now you might not have it for one quarter of the year and you're freaking out and wanting to force people to play. I get it. People love sports. People love to be fans. People love to be fanatics. People want to watch something on a Saturday with their friends and drink a lot of beer. I get it. But is it necessary? Either way, it doesn't matter to me. Here's the issue. If we don't have school, we're not going to have sports. So everyone trying to figure out if we're going to have sports or not, quit trying to figure out if we're going to have sports and start asking the questions to the people that are deciding, are we going to have school? That's the question to ask. Find out this fall, are we having school? And that'll answer your question for college. Now, for professional sports, I don't know. Either way, they might do whatever they want to do. But for collegiate sports, the NCAA, if you want to know if we're going to have sports, find out if we're going to have school. Now, here's where it gets tricky, and here's what I think is going to end up happening. We're going to have school, but school is going to be online. And then we're going to have sports. But sports are going to be not attended. So then the debate's going to be, why are we allowing people to crash into each other and not social distance if we're not allowing them to go to an actual classroom? That's going to be the next debate. That's going to be the next issue. That's going to be the next problem. Guess what, everybody? All this is fake. Some people are dying from a virus that is similar to the flu, just like they do every single year. The economy is crashing. Places are shut down. We're in a quarantine. The government is doing whatever they want to do. Your constitutional rights are being taken away from you. But nobody cares because they paid you $1,000 to shut up and to stay home. And you got the Democrats over here talking about how they might pay you an additional $2,000 a month if you just decide to go and join their team and also just shut up and stay at home. Anyways, so I want to get Jared Hensley in here. I want to talk about the Hamilton County school system. I want to talk about if sports are coming back, kind of how they're dealing with things. I've heard they're doing a good job. He's only said great things to me, so I'm excited to have that conversation. Hopefully it's next week. If it's not, it'll happen eventually, and if not, I'll just rant next week. I'm sure that I'm going to win $100,000 this Saturday on DraftKings because they're doing another $100,000 payout, and I'm going to win. Why? Because I'm talking it into the universe. I'm not picking the youngest person because they might not win all the time. They only win 65% of the time, and unless I take only all young people, then they win 0.31.79% of the time. All right. I'm tired. Today's been a long day. I've been in a bunch of meetings. Hey, if you need hand sanitizer, I'm selling hand sanitizer. My company is switching over and mass producing hand sanitizer at a bulk level. I'm talking full truckloads. I'm talking gel hand sanitizer, 70% alcohol. I'm talking about pharmaceutical grade hand sanitizer. If your hands are dirty and you need to get them sanitized, I'm your guy. I got the good stuff.
If you don't want skin on your hands, probably the stuff you want.
If you want to remove all the good bacteria off of your hands that's going to keep you alive, you come chat with Gunner, and I'll get you the hookup, bro. All right.
Damn, that was two sponsorships.
That was two sponsorships. All right. And this podcast is also unofficially sponsored by Project Rock and Terramana Tequila. So,
Fair enough.
All right. This was episode 20. Do me a favor real quick. You know the drill. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. and then hit the little bell notification to let you know when we come on, which is usually 8 p.m. on Thursday. And then on Apple Podcasts, which I upload on Friday morning, also to Spotify, go over there to Apple Podcasts, scroll down till you see the comment section, leave a 5-star review, and in that review say, this is the best podcast in Chattanooga. Why? Because it is. And when it's Chat with Gunner episode 2033, it's going to be awesome to look back at Chat with Gunner 20 and say, this guy is an idiot, and he's going to get kicked off the air, and he's yelling at us, telling us to go leave him a 5-star review.
We don't do that anymore.
Yeah, listen, you're not paying me for this content, and you're listening. I know you're listening. You know why I know you're listening? Because I see the numbers of people listening every week, and there's a lot more people listening than there's people reviewing. So I need you to go to the Apple Podcast, scroll down, click the 5-star review, and put the best podcast in Chattanooga, or stop listening.
No. We need to do the Philip DeFranco. We need to threaten him.
Yeah, I'm going to threaten you. Listen, here's what I'm going to do. If I find out that you're listening to this podcast, I'm going to come to your house. I'm going to come to your house. I'm going to knock on your door. As you're getting really close to the door, I'm going to kick your door in. It's going to hit your face. It's going to break your nose. I'm going to walk in. I'm going to look at your wife.
Whoa. Too much.
Too much? All right, back that up. I'm going to kick your door in. The door's going to slam open. It's going to almost hit you in the face, and you're almost going to break your nose. You're going to look at me. You're going to have a near life and death experience, and you're going to say, Mr. Gunner, Miller, sir, I'm so sorry that I almost accidentally didn't go to your podcast and leave a 5-star review. And then you're going to take your iPhone out, or your Droid if you're an idiot. And then you're going to look at me and you're going to say, which one do I need to use? I'm going to say, you can use both. One of them I need you to go to Apple Podcasts. One of them I need you to go to YouTube. You're going to type in Chat with Gunner. It's all going to be one word. Because if you space it, YouTube's idiots, and they can't figure out how to keyword my own name. All right? So you got to do CHATT I learned how to spell my name in kindergarten. You're going to do that, and then you're going to leave a 5-star review. And if you're on YouTube, you're going to subscribe. You're going to hit the bell notification. You're going to go all the way down. And you're going to comment, and you say, I'm doing this because Gunner told me I don't want Gunner to kick in my freaking door. That's what's going to happen.
Don't forget the like button.
Don't forget the like button. All right? You got it? You got it? Are you idiots listen? Are you idiots listening to my voice right now? If you can hear my voice, you are the resistance.
God.
All right? You are the resistance, and I need you to go to my channel. I need you to go to my page and like my stuff, because I enjoy doing this. But I'm not going to, I am going to keep doing it. I'm not, listen, regardless of whether you do this or don't do this, I'm going to stay up here and keep saying this. But if you keep listening and you don't do it,
we're going to have this every show.
You're not just frustrating me, you should be frustrating yourself. That you have to listen to this idiot, because I'm not going to stop doing this until the people that are watching the show, the numbers that I'm seeing weekly, matches the amount of reviews and followers on my YouTube and my Apple Podcast. Until those two things match up, I'm going to get up here and I'm going to yell at you. If I had a baseball bat, I would beat you across your knee and tear your ACL completely. That's what I'd do.
Jesus.
Yeah. Because you people need to learn to be respectful. You know how much time it takes? It takes literally 5 seconds. 5 seconds to go click like. You know, all my friends that do things, they'll post videos, they'll start little businesses, all these things. I'm like the first person to share, the first person to like, first person to comment. Hey man, love to see you doing great. You know what they do to me? Nothing. Not a thing. They don't care.
No.
Oh, are you still doing that stupid podcast? Yeah, I am. You ever listen to it? No. You're the one that's stupid. And then I go back to third grade techniques. I'd be like, oh yeah? Well, you got a stupid face.
Where'd you buy your clothes? The Poor Store?
Well, I don't buy my clothes because I'm unofficially sponsored by Project Rock. All right, bro? I mean, we got the only podcast unofficially sponsored by Project Rock, Terramon Tequila, Pretty Good Lawn Care, and Fleshlight.
We're just going to throw that one in there?
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah. Exactly. It's exactly the Fleshlight.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Exactly. All right.
Fleshlight. Fuck
Anyways, for all you people that don't know my sense of humor, that was all a joke. I was all kidding.
I couldn't keep it in. I tried to keep it
If
straight.
you're part of the wrestling crowd that is very sensitive, I just want to let everybody know I was kidding. That was a joke. That was a little bit of a rant. I used to do those all the time, and now I just did them today. So
We're going to tone it back from now on.
That might be the first rant that we've had on Chat with Gunner. But if you idiots do not like the page, subscribe to the page, share the page, or write a review to the page that adds up to the numbers of all you other idiots that are watching the show, I'm going to keep doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to keep doing
I'm
this.
going to let him.
All right. Anyways, guys, that was fun. Had a great time. That was episode 20. Chat with Gunner. We'll see you here next week. We'll see you here next week with Jared Hensley, hopefully, with the Hamilton County school system, talking about how we're going to get your kids back into classes because your parents tired of seeing your asses. All right?
Yep.
That's the plan. All right. Appreciate it, guys. See you. Bye.